If we be true Nigerians, we go rise hand in hand, uphold the 7 to 7 agenda for Nigeria, our hope, our pride, and our strength.
Powered by National Orientation Agency.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy, and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People Television. Now you have more than a voice.
Our world and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing. And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world, because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns.
Mr. Familoni, and here's to VOP TV. Keep watching, stay tuned, do not touch that dial.
Arara, my name is Made Kuti and you're watching BOP TV. Keep watching.
Welcome, my name is Ika Davis. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, boys, viewers, everybody, boys and girls. This is VOP TV. Do you know what that means? Voice of the People TV. You don't have a voice, don't come here. You better make sure your voice is heard.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe! Hunger no get religion!
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues on Voice of the People Television. Don't just react, understand. Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I, from social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more, tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count. The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as it is hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before.
In a world where power shifts its every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy, and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not speed. We discuss not
Africa is on the move, a continent of rising voices, untold stories, and powerful transformation of Nairobi. From the mines of Congo to the tech labs of Cape Town, they are unstoppable. This is African News on Voice of the People Television. We don't just bring you the news. We analyze and bring you Africa's heartbeat, the politics that shapes our nations, the economies that drives our future, the cultures that defines who we are, the voice that must be heard. Africa News, Africa's voice, Africa's future. Where Africa speaks, the world listens.
From the views on the street,
we go to bed empty hunger,
to the blaring horns of our hustle. Voices of the common man got a medium to be heard. We asked the reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries. Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people.
Voice of the people, you can hear me now. My name is Patrick Doyle, and I wish that you continue to echo the voices of the people. Big up VOP TV.
My name is Suibifa Dokubo. Please keep watching VOP TV.
Hi, my name is Kwekumali Ikenda Onyekwena, and I am with the Voice of the People TV. Now, if you're looking for the veritable channel for information, politics, robust discussions, you don't need to go far. VOP has you. VOP will always have you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Patrick Diabwa, aka Ibani Chuka, Amayanabo the Eagle King.
Good morning and welcome to VOP this morning. Welcome to the program, because we do have quite a lot for you this morning. Unfortunately, we'll be touching on insecurity as well. I know I say that because, I mean, it's a conversation we seem to have every day right here in Nigeria in the past probably 10 years. Yeah, about that. We've been talking about the issues of insecurity. And today, we'll be looking at over 100 worshippers that were abducted in Kaduna State as women gave birth in captivity. I think out of the over 160, about 10 were set free because they were elderly and they were looking frail. Oh well, and we'll talk about all of this in the course of the program. Also, Nigerian army debunks rumor as deliberate attempt to destabilize the nation. Indefinite strike closes government offices as contractors demonstrate peacefully. Well, these are the major conversations on our plate this morning, and we'd like for you to come along with us as we dissect them all. But there are, of course, other conversations that we'll be delving into this morning. I am Moses Humphrey.
And I am Chukuma Okoro. Good morning and thanks for joining us.
And I'm Jane Ogoye. Good morning. It's lovely to have you.
Now, talking about other trending stories, a major disaster was narrowly averted in Lagos yesterday after a petrol-laden tanker overturned on the busy Tin-Can Liverpool Bridge in Apapa, spilling thousands of liters of highly flammable fuel and triggering a chaotic scramble as residents and passersby rushed with jerrycans and buckets to scoop petrol from beneath the bridge. Well, eyewitness footage circulated on social media shows crowds ignoring repeated warnings from authorities, despite Nigeria's tragic history of tanker explosions that have claimed hundreds of lives in recent years, including the October 2024 Jigawa Inferno that killed over 100 people and the October 2025 Niger State blast that left dozens dead. While emergency responders from LASMA, police and fire services were deployed to contain the spill and divert traffic. But the incident once again highlights the dangerous desperation of citizens grappling with soaring fuel prices and economic hardship. Officials have urged residents to stay away from accident scenes, warning that one spark could turn such reckless scooping into another national tragedy. Well, it happened yesterday. It's circulating on social media. And when I saw it, I was like, wow. Nigerians are unbelievable. Nigerians are incorrigible. Nigerians are unrepentant. This is not, last year we had more than 3 or 4 incidents of, conflagration like this, arising from people trying to scoop fuel. I think in 2024, it was even worse. It became a pattern, and people were unyielding. People would now normally just go and start scooping fuel. And out of a little spark, about 100 and something people will die. And yesterday, and look at what even happened yesterday was that, the tanker overturned on top of the bridge. And the content, was spilling all the way down. Spilling all the way down. And what did
some just put their buckets.
Receiving
manna.
And any little spark. And when we're having a discussion about, you can even see the video on the screen.
And even those spilling onto the roads, they were being scooped, some of those scooping had taken off their shirts. Like, this is manna from heaven. Let's just receive as much as we want, as much as we can.
Like it's even raining. Looks like it's raining. It's raining fear.
It's raining fuel.
And I was asking,
this number of people, they are about over 200 people here.
So just imagine
if there was a spark.
If there was a spark. And I was asking, how many of these people own cars? How many of these people even own generators?
These people are scooping to sell.
They're scooping to sell.
Quick cash.
To make quick cash. So how much cash?
Some of them may use it for generator in their shops or at home. But you see, it speaks to poverty, really.
Yes.
It's a poverty mentality.
It's not poverty.
It's
a poverty mentality.
It's poverty.
Okay.
It's poverty.
It's not poverty.
Because poverty is really bad. We underrate poverty a lot, especially in Nigeria. You forget that poverty will make you negotiate with debts. You won't know you're negotiating with debts because a sane, let me not say sane.
Because, you can say a sane person.
Okay, but you know that poverty makes you desperate.
Makes you insane, actually.
Insane, actually. I was trying not to use the word insane.
We have on several occasions going through this,
yes.
And how many of those, there are people, around that area that are poorer that know that we're scooping fuel, but they kept away.
I don't think so.
It's about greed.
It's not greed.
It's greed.
Well, there's a place of greed.
There's a place of greed
poverty strips you of any form of dignity.
I know poverty
of
can
sanity,
like we normally say in our local parlance. Poverty can reset.
That's the word.
Poverty can reset people's bread. And I'm just wondering, how much will you make out of?
How much will you make?
But it also speaks to
now you put your life in danger. Your life is in harm's way. Other people.
Well, the thing with us, the thing with us is we always think it's not our portion. If it happened to somebody else, it will not happen to us. So they go in there. When you tell them, oh, this can be with a little spark, they'll be fine. I say, no, it's not my portion.
It won't happen.
It's not
so
my
I think
portion.
it's more about survival instincts. At that point, make I just take small fuel that I can use to survive for today. Tomorrow will take care of itself. It just speaks to the root cause of the pulse of the average Nigerian. There's so much hunger. Everybody's just striving to survive for today.
Okay.
Everybody's eating from hand to mouth. Until we solve that root cause, these things will continue.
And I hope you use that word everybody loosely, because everybody.
We all have degrees to have.
But now, let's look at it from another perspective. How much of reorientation, how much of sensitization have we done over time? I know that anytime this kind of thing happens, we take our time here, to educate people to say, look, it is dangerous to put your life in harm's way simply because you want to get like 15, 20,000 at the maximum, So how long is it going to last?
Okay, how about
you put your life in harm's way, you could get burnt, and if you have parents and you die, your children are left orphans. And all of that. So, National Orientation Agency, does it look like people here, all the people that we saw in
National Orientation Agency, they've been doing, sorry to butt in.
No, what I'm saying is the people that we saw in that video, does it look like they have
access to that information?
They don't have access to that information. So, what more should we do as a people?
So, I'm thinking, how about we address the root cause of these falling tankers? Why are these tankers falling? Why do we have the frequency? So, is it that the makeup of it is not good enough? Is it that the roads are bad? Or is it that the drivers are reckless? I think while we're also thinking, I think it's a combination. So while we are thinking about,
that bridge, I'm not sure there's a pothole on top of that bridge.
We can't say the bridge is there. That's Apapa. It's
around that Tinkan area.
It may not be a pothole.
But it might not be a pothole, but so it could be recklessness.
Maybe.
It could be carelessness.
Yeah.
It could be. It could also be rage.
It could also be when the tankers and those containers are not meant to be filled to the brim.
Okay.
There's room for when it starts to
for the way to balance.
Yes. There's I think there's this documentary I watched where they show the inside parts of a tanker and the demarcations inside, so that when it gets into a bumpy road, the content can spill forward without
to create a balance.
Yes, creating a balance without making it tumble over. So, but when you fill it to the brim, the likelihood of it, especially when you get into a bumpy road, spilling over, is really, really high. So we don't know. And another problem we have here is, who does investigations when things like this happen? Do they discover the causes of these things? Do they find a way to mitigate it? Because we just hear that there's a tanker, a tanker falls over, there's fire, people die, and that's it.
And it ends there.
And it ends there, basically. It just ends there. But to answer your question about the role of NOA, I think NOA has done quite a few. Okay. I've seen quite a few commercials done in Pidgin English with animated, animation. Basically, they use animation, tell you, look, don't even stand within the vicinity, run. But the point now is, how far do those things go? Do they make adverts on radio? Some of these people barely have time to watch TV. A lot of these people are in their shops from morning till evening. They go home tired and they want to sleep. The next thing they're getting on social media, that's about the only source of information
Okay,
that
they could also use town criers.
They could use town criers.
Mount road shows, where they broadcast these things along the street.
Exactly.
And probably with videos mounted.
With videos and pictures and
board.
flyers. I mean, we're giving them, this is free consultation for right now.
Okay, but what if we do? What if we do all of this reorientation, town criers, like you said, and forget to, talk about the roots?
We'll come to the problem. We'll come to solving the problem.
Okay, but can a hungry, angry man actually listen to this? Just ask.
Okay, now I'm happy that you brought us back to the point of hunger. Like Moses was trying to give us the technical details of, how these tanks are filled up to a certain point, not to the brim, so that it could create some kind of balance and not tumble over when there's maybe it enters into a pothole.
Yeah.
Now I want to ask this question. Maybe we could get to part of the answers to the problem. Now, if it is supposed to be left at a certain, you fill it to a certain level, and now they fill it to the brim. Between the driver and the person that filled it to the brim, will you say it is poverty or greed that led to that?
That's greed.
That's greed.
Greed.
That's greed. Yes, that's greed.
With traces of poverty.
It's difficult, but it's basically greed.
Yeah, it's greed.
It's greed. So the thing is that, but I understand sometimes why our people are greedy and poor at the same time. Because we are
not greedy because they are poor.
But
a lot of them are greedy because they are poor.
They are greedy because they are poor.
Some of them are greedy because they are poor, or they are poor because they are greedy.
No. They are greedy because they are poor.
They are greedy because they are poor. Now, I want us to create a semblance of, sequence. Because people are not guaranteed tomorrow.
Yes.
So they do something today to ensure that one way or the other their tomorrow is guaranteed. If you have a place where you have to send your kids to school, free schools, or if they are not free, you pay minimal. Hospital, the same thing. Insurance, you have cover and all of that. What would be the need? Would there be need for someone to steal? There'll be no
In fact, if the products are made readily available at very reasonable prices, like you can walk into a filling station and buy a liter of fuel for 100 naira, people will not have need to scoop this. Because a liter of fuel in some places in the country go for as much as 1,000 naira.
That's true.
So people feel, okay, if I can scoop a bucket full, I can get myself like 5 liters of fuel. That's like how much now? 5,000. Easy money, as it were.
Yes.
So, but it's up to the government now to ensure that these products, these things they are taken from our soil and refined, and the rest of them, they should be made available to the people at reasonable prices. That's on one side. And then to come to the point that Jane has been trying to, to buttress on, the fact that our roads are not, some of our roads are not good. A lot of them are not good. Should a tanker be plying that bridge ordinarily?
Ordinarily.
It looks narrow.
There should be a bar.
It looks narrow.
But they've tried to do the whole, try to say some tankers shouldn't go on third mainland or shouldn't go on some bridges.
Other means of transporting
but it still happens.
Things, especially when they're going long distance.
Yes.
It will reduce incidents like this. You know, other means, there are pipelines and the rest
There's
of
a
them.
lot. There's a lot.
And then if they have, there was even a time they said, look, tankers should not be on the road at a certain time of the day.
Yes.
You know, after 2 weeks, we went back to our.
In fact, the tanker drivers will decide to go on strike.
Yes.
Because and now I would say to a large extent their point is valid because they get attacked, they get robbed by street urchins
at night,
at that time of the night.
Yeah.
They don't have enough police
protection.
So we have it's a combination of a lot of problems. That it will take. It's only the government that can fix all these problems because it is the role of the government.
Yes, I agree with you. And as we discussed, we even keep seeing more problems. When you talk about transportation, you now begin to ask, why will you have to drive a 30,000 liter tanker from Sokoto to come to Lagos to lift fuel when we have a refinery in Kaduna? Why? Why will you have to move 60,000 liter tanker to Aba when we have a depot in Aba and we have refineries in Port Harcourt? If these things were working, you don't even need to travel this far, to get fuel. So the problems are humongous, so many of them, that at some point you don't even know where to start from, from solving the problem. So people in government, when they look at it, the thing is so complex, it's so complicated, well, let's just continue.
And even when they try to put systems in place to mitigate such things, we the people sometimes frustrated because you said something about, Moses said, even when you tell these tanker drivers, don't ply these routes, in the daytime, let it be like night, they will kick against it. And rightly so, like he said. So how do you even ensure that some of these policies, some of these things you put in place?
I think it's a big problem.
It is a big problem.
The leaders and the led, both the government, the governor, and the people that the governors and the govern, all of us present different kind of challenges. Anyway, let's move away from that and.
Yes, let's get to the papers now. Let's look at what headlines we have from the papers. I'm sure you find that tanker spillover in some of the dailies. But these are the headlines from the Daily Independent. The big story here: IMF taps FG economic reforms, stabilizing Naira. Fiscal position projects Nigeria's economy to grow by 4.4% in 2026. The window headlines: WEF 2026. Shetima commissions first ever Nigerian pavilion in Davos. Local contractors accuse FG of using their funds for re-election. All right. And DSS rearrests Malami after release from Kuje prison. Kano governor meets Tinubu over planned defection to APC. Nigeria's non-oil exports hit all-time high, $6.1 billion in 2025. Ododo unveils state-of-the-art security drones. Federal government targets new national broadband plan with World Bank's $500 million. The rider to that one: NCC unveils new spectrum roadmap to push $1 trillion digital economy. And the bottom strip: court slams 100 million naira fine on Nigerian army over land trespass. Well, those are the headlines on the cover page of Nigerian Tribune.
Now let's do Independent.
Daily Independent.
Okay, now let's quickly run through the Nigerian Tribune with the window headlines. IMF raises Nigeria's 2026 growth forecast to 4.4%. Alleged abduction of 100 worshippers. No one was kidnapped in Kaduna. Police, local government chairman said. That's quite interesting. Now the big story: DSS arrests Malami after release from Kuje prison. Baba Wahala, our people will say. Alleged cyberbullying. Police file 6-count charge against Toun Onajobi. Remands doctor for issuing alleged fake report for her. Amid defection moves, Kano governor visits Tinubu in Aso Villa. Ekiti poll: PDP, SDP missing. INEC clears APC. 11 others in final candidates list. After that again for clarity. Ekiti poll: PDP, SDP missing. INEC clears APC. 11 others in final candidates list. FG denies citing gold refinery in Lagos. Ondo judicial crisis deepens as budget cuts, autonomy disputes, paralyze courts. We resolved our differences. They should resume soon. Ondo Justice Commissioner. And in the world of health, brain disease is on the rise, but prevention, cure missing in Nigeria. That's coming from a neurologist. And that is it on the Nigerian Tribune newspaper.
And the big story on the front page of The Nation is still talking insecurity. Alleged terror financing. DSS arrests SAGF Malami. Sanwo-Olu signs 4.4 trillion 2026 budget. Why PDP secretariat remains locked by the FCT police. CBN, banks raised lendings to firms, households in fourth quarter of 2025. Showore's trial for criminal defamation begins on Thursday. And Nigeria says they're ready for front seats in global economy. Kano governors firm up APC defection plan. How assailants killed mother, 6 children in Kano by neighbors.
And pretty much those are the headlines on the cover pages of the dailies. We'll go deeper into these headlines at 10 o'clock when we get into newspaper review proper. But in the meantime, let's talk about this conversation now. Over 160 worshippers abducted in Kaduna State as a woman gives birth in captivity. Now the figure, some say over 160, some takes it a notch higher, say over 172. What are the figures actually? Oh well, these are human beings that have been abducted. If we have conflicting figures already with how many of those have been abducted, how then do we know how many of those will be released in the course of negotiations and the rest? Well, let's talk about this when we come back from this break. Stay with us.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People Television. Now you have more than a voice.
From the views on the street,
we go to bed empty hunger,
to the blaring horns of a hustling city. The loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries. Voice of the People, 90.3 FM, became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space. Exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills 3 things that makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people.
The 2564 is coming up on Bernie 9, right?
The 2564 Atlantic Tower.
What happened
happens in the hush behind hangar doors? Who signs the papers that gamble with lives? Which truths were grounded before they even ever had wings? If you've ever buckled a seatbelt at 30,000 feet, if you've ever stared out of that tiny window and wondered who's really in control of the skies, it isn't just flight, it's power, it's politics, it's pressure sealed in steel. We're peeling back the clouds from runway risks to sky-high secrets. We're diving deep where most dare not to look. Aviation Scope, every Sunday at 7 p.m. only on Voice of the People TV. We don't just report, we reveal. We don't just ask, we uncover. Because when it comes to the skies, ignorance is turbulence. Aviation Scope, the sky isn't the limit, it's just the beginning.
In a world where power shifts with every headline.
In a nation full of questions.
In a world filled with noise, the truth needs a voice.
The policies that shapes our world and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing. And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns.
I'm Mr. Familoni, and here's to VOP TV. Keep watching, stay tuned, do not touch that dial.
Arara, my name is Made Kuti, and you're watching BOP TV. Keep watching.
Welcome, my name is Zika Davis. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, boys, viewers, everybody, boys and girls. This is VOP TV. Do you know what that means? Voice of the People TV. You don't have a voice, don't come here. You better make sure your voice is heard.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe. Hunger no get religion.
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues on Voice of the People Television. Don't just react, understand. Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I. From social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more. Tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count. The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as it is hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before.
In a world where power shifts its every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy, and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not flaws.
Nigeria has been rocked by yet another wave of terror as armed militants abducted more than 163 worshippers during church services in Kaduna State. A chilling escalation confirmed by the Northern Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, where the horrifying ordeal has been compounded by reports from Plateau State, where a woman whose husband was killed by kidnappers was forced to give birth in captivity, underscoring the human tragedy behind the statistics. Viral footage on social media shows distressed families pleading for government intervention, while communities across the north remain gripped by fear as bandits tighten their stranglehold on daily life. Well, the abductions come amid mounting political controversy, with opposition figures seizing on revelations that U.S. intelligence on Sokoto airstrike exposed lapses in the Tinubu's administration handling of security operations, branding the government as screwed up and out of touch with the realities of ordinary Nigerians. Well, we've been joined in the studio here to help us make sense of this development by Prince Francis Chilaka. He's a political affairs analyst and commentator. Good morning, Prince, and thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
We appreciate your presence.
You're looking radiant this morning.
Thank you.
Maybe
I'm already blushing here.
Maybe you have joined those who are kidnapping people.
I wish I could. Yes, there's a lot of money to be made.
It's lucrative.
We're talking about lucrative, very lucrative. We're talking about poverty this morning, living from hand to mouth. I want to
scooping diesel at the risk of getting their lives. They just signed a suicide note and they entered into the streets.
But they didn't care. They didn't care
It's
because
poverty.
they were more concerned.
Poverty and hunger.
Poverty brings which one? Because we were having the
poverty and hunger. A man who has 5 kids, he has to pay school fees. He sees an opportunity to get 5 kegs of diesel. Each one he sells it 30,000. That's already 150,000.
Oh, it's an ongoing debate, and somehow we'll have to arrive at a point sometime. Well, we've been also been, but before I introduce Elvis, let me just say that I'm not going to get into kidnapping.
Second thought.
No, second thought. That was in a lighter mood. As a matter of fact, a lot of people try to survive either by hook or by crook. But I would prefer to go the hook way, not the crook way. You know, unfortunately for me, that is what it is. So let me bring in Mr. Elvis Himeleme. Elvis is a political affairs analyst, and he joins us on the show this morning. Good morning, Mr. Good morning. Good to have you.
Good morning, Elvis Himeleme.
Now, we have also been joined virtually by Mr. Babatunde Awe. He's a legal practitioner and political and public affairs analyst. Good morning to you, Mr. Awe, and thanks for joining us. Okay, I understand that we have audio connections problem with him. He will join us in the course of the show. Okay, Mr. Awe, I would like for you to unmute your device so that we can get your audio feed. Okay, beautiful. We've also been joined from our Oka outstation by Sir Chuka Annabufe. Sir Annabufe is the MD, Anambra State Civic and Social Reformation Office, and CISO. He's a political and public affairs analyst. Good morning to you, Mr. Annabufe, and thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Chukuma. Good morning, Moses, and good morning, Fina.
Good morning to you too.
Good to have you.
It's not Fina on the table this morning. It's Jane on the table this morning.
Okay.
But, yes.
Beautiful. Let's get into it. Prince, let me come to you. 160 people. We have number differences. Some people are saying over 100. Some people are saying 160 and all of that. But the information we have is that people were kidnapped, worshippers were kidnapped in churches in Kano State. In the midst of this surge, these terrorists have doubled down, despite the fact that we saw guns ablazing on the 25th of December 2025, where Trump had to take out scores of terrorists in some parts of the Northwest, Sokoto to be very precise. How will you describe what happened in Sokoto? Does it look like these people are baying and said, oh, well, Mr. Trump, come, we are ready for you? Like, you recall that Sheikh Gumi once said that for each Muslim that you kill, that the terrorists are going to unleash mayhem on Christians, on the Christian community, on Christendom. Is that what we are seeing now? Help us understand all that has happened in the past days or so.
Okay, let's start from guns blazing. Guns are blazing. And then we ask ourselves, when Trump talked about coming to Nigeria to help fight these terrorists, what was the position of the Nigerian government? The position is no, we don't want. Just give us support, give us arms, give us ammunition. So the government over time gave the impression that they were in charge, they were in control. And because of that, what you had that played out on the 25th of December was just a test run. It was a test run. And after the test run, what happened? Don't forget that after hours of Trump tweeting, your government now came and said, we gave the intel. And I'd like you to underline that. We gave the intel. And then and then one question that came bothering them is, you gave an intel. At what point did you understand, or what point did the Nigerian government know that Sokoto was harboring like a headquarters of these people? So it's like cat and dog right now. And the government has failed to be honest and sincere with the Nigerian people. And until the government wakes up from that slumber, things will not get better. And we're talking about 100 people. It takes us back to Chibok girls, not one. It takes us back to Dapchi girls, take two. It takes us to Niger State. And now it takes us to Katsina State. We're talking of numbers, 100. Okoro, how are these people moved? Are we saying that by the time these 100 people are being moved, the community around where they were kidnapped from, everybody goes to sleep? We don't hear their footsteps. We don't hear any noise. Nobody knows. It's like we use AI. These guys use AI to come up with a tunnel where they all enter and disappear.
Okay. Now, Prince, you have asked a very pertinent question. People in the community, if they'd come to know about it, what would they do? Wouldn't they run for their own lives?
In the process of running, you cannot tell me that you will run from here all the way to mile 2 without seeing a police checkpoint, or without seeing a police station, or without seeing an army checkpoint, knowing the fact that these areas right now are volatile. People are living in fear. I had thought that Kaduna State had come out of it, because that was the impression we were given, that they had an understanding with these guys. Why we are all talking about this kidnapping and all of that? Look at the nonsense going on in Katsina State, where the governor is bent on releasing 70 terrorists. Does it not show you that there seems to be a kind of connivance between these terrorists and government officials?
Okay, more like complicity.
That's what it is.
Okay.
Because for me, I feel so bad that somebody who has killed, maimed, sent people to IDP camps, you want to release them. And you say you are looking for peace. And that's why I keep saying, peace without justice is peace of the graveyard.
Peace without justice is peace of the graveyard. But before we go to our virtual guest, let's bring in Mr. Elimi Hele into this conversation. Now, MBs, we see a situation where there is a spike, an escalation, on the number of kidnappings. And I'd like for us to talk about, the resurgence, especially going into an election year. And the fact that these things are happening in some parts of the country, especially the north. Are we trying to, is it a replay of what happened in 2015, where there was a sense of, the president cannot, protect his people, and so because of that, he has to walk away? Is that what we are seeing? Is there a replay of 2015?
Yeah, it's more like that, Mr. Koro. You see, that's why I keep telling you that there are designers. There are people who are behind this, quote, insurgency in this nation. These people have a game that they are, playing to Nigerians, like a chess game. You just made mention of it. America came on 25th of December, 2025, just some weeks ago, not up to a month. And since they came, it has never been good. We have, you know, it was after they came that we had the kidnapping of these children in Niger State. Yeah. Then we have the market situation that they went to market in Niger State. Then we have this one again now. So the architects who are behind this insurgency in this nation, they are orchestrating the game. Yeah, we are. This 2026 is actually the election year. Forget about that. The election itself is going to take place on the 2027. Yeah. This is the preparation of the election that is the election. More of this will happen. Go and mark it.
Okay, now more of this will happen. Yes. If you have established that it's a replay of 2027 where these elements had their way, they were able to, you know, change the narrative to say, oh, the president cannot, Jonathan cannot protect Nigeria, so he has to leave. I'd like for you to now juxtapose this between Jonathan and Bola Ahmed Tinubu. If you understand their personalities, their idiosyncrasies and all of that, do you think that it's something that might happen again in 2027? Do you think that Tinubu could be taken out simply because, he's unable to protect Nigerians? You know, there is trouble in the land everywhere. Is it something that can replay?
Mr. Koro, if you look at what is going on in Nigeria now, most of the when you listen to some of these Arewa people, what they keep telling you is that Tinubu does not deserve a second term and he should go. That's what is going on. They are not telling Nigerians that these are the reasons, or this is the reason what they are coming to do better. But all they are saying is that Tinubu must go. This was exactly how that campaign was so stringent with Jonathan. Remember in 2014, 2015, and Jonathan was, taken out of office. That's when I see when I see all this cross carpeting and endorsement. I keep looking at.
Now, my direct question, Elvis, is: do you think that these elements will be able to pull through this the second time with the personality of Bola Ahmed?
What is the personality? Do you know whom these elements are working with? Okay. You don't know whom they are working with. These elements are people who have been able to hold this nation on for 16 good years since this insurgency started. And they are not reneging. They get stronger every day. They are waxing stronger on a daily basis. One would have even expected that after the America came in December, we would have seen at least a respite. But we have seen the resurgence of it. Okay. Which means these elements are clustering around and they know what they are doing. All right,
we'll come back to what should have been when America came in. Let's take this conversation now to Sachuka Nabife. Now, Sir Chuka, there's a bit of conflicting information. I would like for us to, reason, think about it, and seek out some sort of understanding of this conflicting information. First, the chairperson of CAN in Kajuru area, where this kidnapping took place, is saying, look, about 172 people were kidnapped. 9 of them escaped. And then in the process, they took the rest away. And the church, he says, are trying to come up with a list of those that were kidnapped. Now that is on one side. The commissioner of police in that area, I think his name is Muhammad Rabiu, said the information that was pushed out is false. According to him, when he heard about the attack, he mobilized policemen to the area and they didn't see any evidence of kidnapping. They looked at the churches, there was no evidence. I don't know the evidence they were looking for, maybe blood on the floor. They didn't see any evidence. Also, the local government chairman, Dauda Madaki, is saying the same thing, that it's just rumor to make the government look bad. Now, what do you make of this conflicting information? CAN, representatives of CAN, the chairperson of CAN in that local government area, is saying, look, people were kidnapped and we're coming up with the list. The police and local government chairman are saying no such thing happened. What is the danger in such conflicting information?
Well, there is everything is about the danger, but actually I would like to talk about the consequences most likely. The outcome the feedback and the ultimate implication of the feedback. That's how I want to take it. The implication is that the issue of the kidnap is could be fake news, could be a false narrative, or a sensationalized news. That is what the police has established. Now, what the Christian Association of Nigeria, their local cell leader, is establishing is that there was a kidnap, and that the kidnap happened, and there's as many as 172, and 9 or 8 escaped.
9 of them escaped. Yes.
Yes. So then there is a hunger there. The hunger there is where are those 9 persons that escaped? They will establish whether there was a kidnap or no kidnap. That is one. 2 is that police could actually be saying the wrong thing or the right thing, in as much as they are alleging that it is false. What do I mean by saying the right thing? They could be saying the right thing because they are the ones who are supposed to give you and I the right information about crime, like that. And they said they visited the crime scene and didn't see any evidence of crime. It could be foreclosing something or establishing something. But then the local people, the Christian Association have done that. Then what could be the outcome of all these things? The outcome of all these things could be by checking who is trying to please who. Remember, currently in Nigeria, there's an intense proceeding of the American intervention, the Trump intervention, as regards the government's inability to protect Christians, particularly Christians in the North, or persecuting Christians, if you want to put it in the other way. So could it be that somebody is trying to play to that script to show that Christians are being persecuted? That could be from the angle of what police is trying to establish on the end of the Christian Association leader. The other end is that, could it be that this is a political game, like Elvis has alleged in the studio there? Could it be that this is a political game to show the lack of competence or inability or lack of willingness of the security agents and law enforcement authorities to protect Christians? Then that could be for a political reason heading towards 2027. It is all these narratives are what are being played. But if you ask me plainly, I think there was a kidnap. Because 172 persons are not, it's not easy to wish away. They have left a hunger for any investigative journalist to do, and that is, who are these 9 persons that escaped? Where are they? They will establish whether they were in church or that happened or it didn't happen.
All right.
So I think we should be, police can be playing the ostrich, or the Christian Association can be playing the sensationalists, magnifying it to fit their narrative.
All right, thank you very much, Sir Chuka Nabife. Prince, with the police rushing to the scene, doesn't it make it even more difficult for private investigators to investigate, seeing that probably shells of the either bullets fired into the air may have been taken out? I mean, that's a narrative that some people are saying. If the police rushed to the scene and are reporting that there was no evidence, could it be that they took out the shells and probably, hid the evidence and is saying, and then where does this leave us really with conflicting information?
Well, the conflicting information you're having is because of the trust deficit between the people, the government, and the police. Nobody would take anything said by the police seriously anymore. Why?
Well, let's look at something that Sir Chuka, sorry, please. What he also pointed out, the narrative being pushed out there, that, to buttress the fact that Christians are truly attacked, as this might further encourage American invasion of some sort?
I think we seem to be playing politics with our lives, or the lives of Nigerians, so to say. If you're not in a war zone, you will not understand how people in the war zone feel. And so when people tell you there is a kidnap, there are certain conspiracy theories that cannot work. If you're telling me that 4 people were kidnapped, we understand. But if you're telling me that 100 people were kidnapped, going by the way kidnap is done in Nigeria, going by the way that, I'll take you on a journey. Kwara State, remember when the church was attacked? You know, the police first of all said...
Absolutely, yes.
So these are reasons why people don't trust the police anymore. And the police rushing to the scene is unheard of. It's unlike Nigerian police, rushing to the scene. And why is it that the police will always get to the scene after the crime has been committed? So for me, I believe that to a large extent, people were kidnapped. Maybe not in that number, but I believe that. I don't think anybody would wake up and say they kidnapped people and go to bed. No. Something happened in that vicinity. Maybe we don't have all the details, but something definitely happened. And I don't think the church has gotten to that level of, lying. The church has not gotten to that level. And why would anybody want to lie? Knowing that if you're arrested for lying, you have committed a crime. So it's now a war between Khan and the police. And obviously, the local government chairman, who do you expect him to side?
But Prince, don't you think we should be worried that insecurity has been so normalized that that in saner climes, when we have repeated failures like that, there should be resignations? Some people should be punished. But we also have, on the other hand, we also know that a lot of communities are very sympathetic to these guys. So sometimes I wonder, is it because of fear? Or because we can't say that we lack intelligence?
Well, when you say is it because of fear, the first thing you should ask yourself is, there are people, Nigerians today, living in IDP camps.
Yeah.
We're not talking about 100, we're talking about thousands living in different IDP camps in the north. These people did not migrate from Lagos to those camps. These are people who have ancestral homes, and they've been chased away from their ancestral homes. Who are those occupying those ancestral homes? So if government is saying that they're in charge, why have they not been able to relocate these people back to their ancestral homes? So it's difficult for government to claim that they're in charge. They're not in charge. You heard your Minister of Defense saying that anybody who is sympathetic to a thief is also a thief. And then I'm asking, Katsina State Governor, is he a thief? Is he a terrorist? Because it's being sympathetic. You want to take people who have been arrested, and you say you want to use them for negotiations. Is it the duty of the government to enter into such negotiations? Don't forget that what you have playing out now, the moment an issue has been declared as terrorist, it is the federal government, the federal might. Why is federal government not speaking? Why is it that the president has not called the Katsina State government and said, this thing you want to do, you cannot do it? Why are they keeping silent?
All right, thank you very much, Prince. Mr. Elimehele, let's compare this to the St. Mary's Catholic Church kidnap, where some students managed to escape. And initially, there was this confusion as to whether they escaped, whether they were let off. And then also the conversation around how many of them can we ask what truly happened. Do you think people that escape might want to come out and say, yes, I was part of those kidnapped, but I managed to escape? You think they feel their life will be safe if they do so?
Yeah, I thank God that we're talking of church now and not school. Let's even believe that these people that escaped are more of adults. the St. Mary were children.
Yes.
Well, it was
Talking about that, there was also a report that the kidnappers released certain people that were frail.
They said free.
They were frail.
Yes.
They released them.
Yes.
But now we're hearing that they escaped. It's confusing.
Yes. At least, even if they were free or not, at least let's believe that they are adults. Probably those ones that were free are kind of like old and sickly persons. These persons have to be looked for to authenticate this back and forth between the police.
And you think they would want to speak?
We're talking of brotherhood here. This is church. Talking of brotherhood. Moses. This is church. And this church, is it in the desert? Is it in the forest? Is it in a village?
Apparently, if we want to go by the reports, they came, shot into the air, and rounded up the people and took them into the bush. So it's easy to assume that the church or the churches, as it were,
they said three.
Understand? Yes, that they share a boundary with a bush path.
Even at that, there will be inhabitants before a church could locate to that area. People must have been living there. Not even talking of 100 and something persons. You know what it means to move 100, even 30.
Yeah, but we've seen people move over 200
So there was no kidnap ought not to even arise at all. Why is the police so hasty in giving us such information that there was nothing like that? What preliminary investigation have they done before they came into that conclusion that there was nothing of that nature? The villagers should also be asked, did you see any skirmish movement around in your village?
What if the information was false? What if that information was false? Shouldn't the police say something immediately?
For over 100 and something persons, they're not talking of two people. They say, it's a lie. Maybe they were on their way to the church. We're talking of they came into the church. Why are we trying to seal up things that we have seen before now?
Are we trying to relieve the Chibok thing? Because you recall that at some point.
That was what happened,
At some point in Chibok, Shetima said there was no
kidnap.
Is that what we're experiencing again?
Exactly, because since that time, this narrative has already been established in this nation. Remember, after the Chibok, even before the Chibok, we have the Buniyadi boys.
Yeah.
Those boys that were murdered in their hostel in their school. This was how it was an issue. What was the number? Was it really true? Until their parents cried out before we started seeing videos. Now we are seeing, why is it anytime something as magnitude of this nature happened to Nigerians, the only narrative we hear is that it's a lie, or it's not true, or the number is not up to that number. These are the things we keep hearing. Why is it that we can't take our information and tell the world what we are going through? You see, some people will tell you American government overstep their bounds when we cannot do our own very minute thing of ascertain crime scene, number of persons. Then some other persons are now trying to help us to do what we could not do. People say, what's America business in this?
All right, then let's get the thoughts of other individuals on this panel this morning. We have Babatunde Awe Esquire. Good to have you join us, a public affairs commentator as well. Good morning to you.
Good morning, sir.
Good to have
pleasure
you.
to be here.
Now, tell us, please, what are your thoughts on this? I understand that you've been following the conversation so far.
Yes, I have.
Go ahead.
Beg your pardon. It's for me, it's a little more than a little distressing that we continue to have these episodes occurring over and over and over and over again. It's of course an indictment on our security operatives. People say security architecture, but there really doesn't appear to be any architect. You don't have architecture without architects. So the so-called architects of our security are, in my view, completely failing us. In every conflict zone, you have areas that are considered hotspots. So those so-called hotspots must be carefully monitored at all times, especially when you have repeated recurrence of incidents of a particular nature occurring in those areas. Now, we keep the southern Kaduna is a place I'm very, very familiar with. Kafanchan, Kajuru, Kachia, all those areas are places I'm very, very familiar with. I travel those areas I've traveled them very broadly. I've worked very extensively in those areas as a lawyer, and it's disheartening that for over, I would say since late 2014, we're having numerous incidences of this nature, and to date, we've not been able to manage them. So the issues are, they of course definitely the blame will lie squarely within.
When you say since 2014, you've been having numerous incidences of this nature. Are you talking about incidences of this nature in Kajuru area?
Yes.
Or Kaduna State.
Violence against particular religious
in that area.
Not just Kajuru, Kachia, Kafancha, all those Songo.
But that negates the statement. That negates the statement of the local government chairman, Daudu Madaki, who says, "Look, this information is put out there to distort the relative peace that they are experiencing in that area."
Well, I don't have intelligence about the exact happenings on the ground, but we follow reports. For us to make analysis, we follow reports. We look at the persons making the reports and the sources of these reports. We have reports coming from families. Particular families were named. A particular family was named. 4 particular individuals were named: a husband, a wife, and a child, and a visiting person and a guest in their home. 4 persons were named. The Brituses, they were named in that particular incident, right? And the particular organization responsible for the welfare of the persons who were attacked, that's the Christian Organization of Nigeria.
Yes.
Christian Association of Nigeria, yes. Gave us a report and gave us near specific figures. They said over 160 people were abducted. Those names are being compiled. So it's of course it's natural for crisis to be managed where the nature of casualties or the number of casualties will be downplayed. It's everywhere in the world that is done.
Okay, all right. But Barrister, are we talking about managing this crisis? In the course of your intervention, you said we've been finding it difficult to manage this crisis over a period of 14, 15 years. Now, we have a situation where we are in the midst of insecurity. I'm talking about the management. We have a federal government, that has chosen to manage it differently, like go to the United States of America, pay a huge amount of money, like $9 million, over 1 year. They are going to pay over $9 million in 1 year to help burnish Nigeria's image before the Trump administration. Do you think that that's a good way of managing this crisis, rather than look at the underlying causes, the root causes, but we are using a whole amount of money to burnish our image? Is it a track that will help us in the end of it all? What's your reaction to that management model?
Well, it's like a man that is dying of hunger suddenly getting 30 million naira and is going to go and buy Lexus. You understand? So it's just for me, those funds. Of course, there's no government, even the government of the United States, that will seem to copy a lot. They do a lot of, they pay a lot of money to lobbyists, right, all over the world for all kinds of arrangements that they seek to get to push a narrative in respect of. So naturally, yes, you must lobby, and lobbying is not cheap because lobbying is deep. Lobbying goes to some of the highest levels in government, right? And those arrangements must be set to consultants to pursue those lobbying arrangements. However, if you look at the cost of providing a simple aerial surveillance, buying thermal drones, or creating arrangements that can, raise early warning systems. Some of the most elementary arrangements, that can pursue. You know how many thousands of guards, how many thousands of hunters, how many thousands of local experts, you understand, can be hired with $9 million? It's incredible. The point I'm making is that, yes, lobbying is understandable. However, we are overlooking some of the most fundamental security structural arrangements, particularly the military. Attacks continue to come and pour in against a particular community. You should understand, if you have rats coming into your house, there is a particular location the rats penetrate your house from. Identify it and plug it, and the rats are gone. If once you plug it and the rats are inside the house, you pursue them and eliminate them in the house using rat poisons or traps or whatever. But you identify, they can't keep coming. There must be a route through which they penetrate this community. It's not everywhere that is penetrable. There's something called a counterinsurgency.
All right, then. Okay.
For sure, you are able to map the locations through which they attack you. You are able to make arrangements to counter their.
Of course, our security agencies should know all of this. Well, thank you very much, Babatunde. Now let's go to Comrade Ibrahim Momo. Good morning to you. Welcome to the conversation. We've kept you waiting for quite some time, but now you're a human rights activist, and you do a whole lot of other things, including being a lecturer and the rest. Now, what are the dangers of such information coming out and such denial? We're talking about lives now, lives of people, because if truly people were kidnapped and relevant agencies, the police, the local government chairman, is saying none of that happened, then where does that put the lives of those that were kidnapped? And
thank you very much.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, the first point is the level of information flow is also very challenging. How is it that first information is coming from CAN and not from the government or the security services? It speaks to poor information. So if it's a security issue, ordinarily the government ought to be the first to tell us. Now, there's no beating about the bush. The primary responsibility of government is the protection of lives and properties of the citizenry. It appears that in this basic responsibility, government perennially has failed us. And that one is something that we must put, in perspective. This issue of this latest information of whether there was or not a kidnapping incident is just one of several or very many instances of kidnapping that have occurred. Yes, it's a given that there are fifth columnists. There are violent entrepreneurs. There are people who benefit from this kind of information. Yes, but government role of securing land and property on a broad scale, evidentially, is an area the government has continuously failed the people. That is the whole point. Whether there was kidnapping or not, the council chairman and the security services, the police are disputing. It's aside the issue. Even if it eventually turns out that in this particular instance there wasn't actually a kidnapping, does it mean that we are safe? Does it mean the people of that community are carrying out safe? Because in this instance of there was a false alarm or a false flag, the answer is no. Insecurity becomes a major challenge. It continues to be a major challenge that we are facing as a people. And then
all right, go ahead, Dr. Ibrahim. Mr. Momo, go ahead.
Yeah, on this issue of whether there was a kidnapping or not, I think that there's still much work to be done before we can say definitively whether or not there was a kidnapping. Because even the CAN report is not specific. It says they are still compiling, for example. About 8 or 9 were escaped or were released. If you are sure 172 were kidnapped, X number of persons escaped or were released, we should of course know how many people are remaining that have been kidnapped.
Okay.
Since we know that X number of people were originally kidnapped, and then another Y number of persons escaped or were released. So we should simply do the math.
Okay, Mr. Momo, we have our guest that joined us from Okasachu Karnabufe. He said something that is quite instructive. He said if there was a kidnap and 9 people were released or escaped, those 9 people should actually serve as a lead, to letting us know whether people were actually kidnapped or not. Now, the big question is, where are those people? The 9 people that were released, supposedly. Now, that said, in the course of your intervention, you clearly said that the government has failed Nigerians in terms of the mandate to protect their life and property. If we establish that, we recall that in 2014, we had the national leader of the APC, then Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he is our president now. At that point, he said, look, Mr. Jonathan, you have failed, to protect the lives and the property of Nigerians. The buck stops at your table. And if you can't do that, you should resign. Will it be appropriate to ask the president to resign at this moment if you establish the fact that, look, he has failed in protecting lives and property of Nigerians?
Well, I think it goes without saying that even without saying, just say, Mr. President, take your medicine. You recommended a particular drug, resignation, before you became president. Now you are president, that same challenge or ailment is still there. Can you take your medicine? Can you? So it don't even require me to say. It's just a matter of reminding the president of the solution he profiled under a different at a different time, under similar circumstance. That's what I would have ordinarily said. Mr. President, you suggested that when there's insecurity, the president should resign because it's a failure of governance, failure of government. So, Mr. President, over to you. Just take a cue from your recommendation. That's what I would say ordinarily. But I think it's more simplistic. It's not as simplistic. It is more complex or not as simplistic as the president tried then, as he was then, the national leader of the opposition party tried to paint it. For me, one of the major challenges our security situation is facing is the over-politicization of security. At all levels of governance, at all levels of the state, whether at local levels, at the state level, at national level, we have seen a gross politicization of insecurity. We have not seen, in fact, people want to mine, people are happy when there is security because it's an opportunity for them to attack a government. At the state levels, in Edo, for example, very recently, we saw, and I'm sure you guys reported it, in Ekpoma, where I lecture incidentally, in Ekpoma in Edo State, there was this protest that turned rioters, involved arson, involved killings, and even stealing. Basically, there was people were robbed, people were looting and the rest. So the first thing we would have expected that all hands come together to criticize this criminality. But what we saw were different opinions, different responses, different feedback. One, the government of the day was blaming the opposition and foreign Nigerians based in Russia. That was what the government position was. Two, you saw the opposition party playing the regular script. This government has failed, it's time for you to resign. So from the opposition and from the state government, part of the response that you feedback you are getting is that it is politicization. So how do you, if we have I think it was Boala or somebody that spoke earlier some time ago that said that insecurity, kidnappings have no religion. It does not, the kidnappers do not identify, kill based on religion. They kill because that is who they are. They are criminals, they are killers. So are the kidnappers who were operating in Ekuma up until recently, were they looking at, which party do you support before they kidnap? The answer is no. So I think that if we even resolve or agree on this issue of should stop politicizing security because it's a common challenge, we'll have a better way out of our quagmire currently.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Comrade Ibrahim Momo. Now, I'd like you gentlemen to stay with us. Prince Francis Chilaka, Babatunde Awe, Comrade Ibrahim Momo, Chuka Nabife, and Mr. Elvis Elemehede. Stay with us as we get into another conversation now. Still bordering on security, all right? The report on mutiny, the police says, the Nigerian army says, is fake and a deliberate attempt to destabilize the nation. But let's talk about this report and other pertinent issues around it. Join us again after this break.
This morning, and still talking insecurity, the Nigerian army has categorically dismissed reports circulating online that soldiers were plotting a mutiny over poor pay and welfare, branding the claims as false, misleading, and deliberately sensational. In a strongly worded statement issued on January 19, 2026, the acting director of the Army Public Relations, Colonel Apollonia Anele, stressed that mutiny is a grave offense under military law and alien to the ethos of discipline and professionalism guiding the armed forces. The Army accused the publication of relying on anonymous, unverifiable sources aimed at undermining the public trust and national security, while reaffirming that officers and soldiers remain loyal to the Constitution and the Commander-in-Chief. Officials further emphasized that troop welfare has been improving under the current administration, dismissing the allegations as a calculated attempt to sow panic among citizens. Analysts have warned that even false reports of mutiny can erode public confidence in the military, especially at a time when Nigeria faces mounting security challenges from insurgency, banditry, and economic hardship. The Army, however, insists that its personnel remain united and disciplined, urging Nigerians to disregard fake news and rely on official communication channels. Prince Chikala, we've seen this happen over and over again. It seems the Nigerian army just reacts and they're always slamming rumors. Meanwhile, we can see evidence. We have a lot of soldiers right now, very brave ones who come out on social media and call out these guys. Yet the top hierarchy of the Nigerian army keeps denouncing this and taking it off as mutiny and fake news. What do you think about this?
Professionalism has been eroded in the Nigerian army. And the entire force, not only the army, the navy and the air force, professionalism has been eroded. They become, those at the top echelon have become politicized. They become politicians in uniform. A few months back, we heard of a phantom coup, which the military and the government has continued to deny. Yet, people got arrested. At the point, we were told that a former governor had been declared wanted for coup. It was on the news. As we sit here today, nobody has come out to tell Nigerians what extent of that news was real and which is fake. You said, as at that time, we were told that some army officers were being questioned for acts of indiscipline. Nobody has told us whether they have been released or they're still in detention. The issue of, saying that there's going to be a mutiny and all of that, we saw a few days back on TV where retired army officers, I think there was a program for them, where they were rushing to get food. There was almost a stampede. Whether we like it or not, the poverty in Nigeria today is real. It's staring everyone in the face. The hunger is real. Bad governance is real. Lack of good communication is real. So when government says anything, the people don't believe it. Nobody believes it. If you tell people today now that the chief of army staff is in Lagos, some people will tell you, they saw him in Abuja. Because they don't trust anything that comes from the mouth of the government. It's not that the people do not want to trust the government. But the thing is that over time, the government has not given the people the reason to trust them.
Please, let's talk about information management in this era. I'm happy that you brought us back to the issue of, the alleged coup plot, when 16 soldiers were arrested and a former governor was said, to be on the run for financing or being part of that alleged plot. Now, and up until this moment, like you said, nobody knows anything about it except a few people in government that understand. Don't we deserve to know, what is going on with those soldiers that are arrested? I ask that in the light of the fact that, now let's compare notes. Under Bangida, Nigerians heard that there was a certain coup that involved Mama and Batsa. They were tried, even if not in open court by a military tribunal.
Court martial.
Yes. Under Abacha, we heard the same thing about Obasanjo, Yar'Adua, and all of that. These are military governments. Now we have a civilian authority, civilian government that should be more open. Yet everything is shrouded in secrecy. For all you care, those soldiers might have been killed or what? I'm just saying, because nobody knows at this point. Don't we deserve to know? And the way we manage information now, does it speak to some kind of progress? Are we making progress? If we have military managing information better than civilian authorities, are we actually making progress?
When you talk about information management, you must understand that it is the duty of government to hide everything.
Yeah, but the military wasn't hiding.
It is the duty of government. Government likes to hide. It is the duty of the press to expose what they're hiding. But unfortunately, what you have playing out in Nigeria today is the fact that the government also wants to control what you consume as information. The government wants to sell their narrative. And this boils down to lack of transparency and accountability. You saw what transpired between Dave Umahi and Hussein Rufai. You saw what transpired. Over a simple question. How much is a kilometer of road that you're constructing? At some point, the minister was like saying, you have no right to ask that question. And so that is the mindset of everybody in government. You have no right to question. You have no right to have information. We give you what we think you should have. The problem with governance in Nigeria is that the leaders you have never asked you, the Nigerian people, what do you want? Your leaders have only given you what they think you should have.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Prince. Let's bring Elvis into this conversation. Elvis, talking about a mutiny, from what you understand, where the military, the way our military soldiers have been treated, both serving and retired, does anything predispose them, to be mutinous? Is there anything you see around them in terms of their welfare, in terms of their packages, insurance, life insurance, and all of that? Those of them at the battlefronts are complaining. Some of them even run away. Is there anything that should predispose them? But we also see generals, retired generals, walk away with $20,000 apiece. So if you balance it up, should there actually be a meeting? Because I see the president give order, look, no, settle these people, pay these people, and all of that. Why are we hearing about a mutiny? Should there be a reason for that?
Mr. Koro, let's even pray that there's nothing like that denial. Let it be true that there's no mutiny, because we have so much in our kitties now in this nation. So much that we have buy that we cannot even chew. Mutiny should not even be part of those things we should be discussing in this nation now. But your question, there's an adage in my place that your dad, as the first son, must not, when he's sacrificing to his late father, in your own presence, you the first son, he should not use the bone to sacrifice to his late father. Because when he also dies, you will also be using bone. Whether the dead man enjoys flesh over there, we don't know, but don't use bone. So what you are saying, Okoro, that is happening to retired military officers in this nation, does that serve as a good example of people who have served this nation, put their life on the line for so many years? Does that serve well? Is that something that we should be proud of? Is it something that we even, ginger a younger person and say, I want to be in this organization, knowing fully well that if I don't die, at least at the time of my service, I have better things to enjoy at the end of the day. Do you see that? We see them sleeping on the street in Abuja because they are asking for their severance package. We see some of them that are talking about, I read a story this week, over the weekend, 1979, some of them that fought civil war. Till now, they've not been paid a couple. Some of them have died. It's on air. So, bringing it down to the information that, there was a mutiny or it's a lie and all that, I pray there should be none, because we have heard these boys on the front line. They are feeding. It's nothing to write home about. And these same boys have family back home. What is their salary? I saw a video that day when they were, clamoring about this 50,000, they want to recruit, whatever. The military officer came out and said, come, it's not for you to say you want to come into the military. The salary of a Nigeria private take-home is just 102,000 naira. He gave it from private to all the ranks. And he was comparing it to some other countries, that even in Ghana here, is Nigeria richer than Ghana or Ghana richer than us? So a situation where some people just believe that it is now our own heritage, that we should be the one that have it. To have it, others can go to hell, can bring money. We have to check it. What they take home every weekend in National Assembly, you and I is not aware. We just heard that day now, because there's trouble in Rivers State, that even before the Ibokete left Rivers, he signed a 350 million naira to each of those legislators for constituency allowance, constituency projects. 350 million.
All right.
You know what that means? The children our men are the trenches. They are talking of 1,500, 2,000 naira for a meal a day.
All right then.
Will it not lead to something of this nature?
A lot of cause to be discussed in this regard. Let's go to Mr. Babatunde Awe, Esquire. All right. So, Babatunde Awe, let me ask you this question. And by the way, I would like for you to unmute your device so we can get your audio feed as you react to the question. Just the other day, it was Armed Forces Celebration and Remembrance Day, and we saw, like has been stated, some, retired officers, colonels, sergeants, and the rest of them. Some of them linked to the venue of the celebration. A lot of them complained about, not being taken care of. Those that even have a roof over their heads will say, oh, their children built it for them, but they have been abandoned. How can we fix this problem? Because if we don't fix it, there might be some sort of uprising, especially considering the fact that we have neighbors now that are governed by the military. Don't you think that in itself can instigate some sort of uprising within the military?
Well, a nation that doesn't take care of the military is just priming itself for disaster, because they're the first line of defense, really, right? Especially, in a country that is at war. Because one of the things that we really don't understand, we attend parties, we have shows going on, we really don't appreciate the fact that Nigeria is at war. Nigeria actually right now is at war, right? We are fighting wars on various fronts. We are fighting in the Middle Belt, we are fighting in Northeast, the Northwest, we are fighting everywhere, right? So it's a country that is at war, serious existential war, because there are some people that want to come and take over the country and impose an ideology on the country that's alien to the constitution of this country. So the line of defense is our military, and for our military to perform, they must be motivated in terms of welfare, they must be supplied in terms of hardware and weapons, and they must be guaranteed recognition for their service. So in the absence of these three elements, we are going to have a military that is poorly motivated, right? And when we have a military that is poorly motivated, then we're in deep trouble, because there's nobody else that's going to say, no prayers, no churches, no mosques, no traditional religious worshippers are going to save us from the onslaught of our enemies here on all fronts, whether it's the enemies in terms of the insurgents or the bandits or the robbers or some foreign entities that are trying to use our nexus for some ulterior motive or the other, So our military is in a state of chaos. That's the truth of the matter. Whether the mutiny reports are true or false, they are poorly motivated. If you look at the salary of an average military personnel, it is nothing to write home about. So we can't complain. We keep throwing money at things that are irrelevant. building edifices and structures and positions that are not sustainable. But the particular enterprises, particular institutions, I should say, the military particularly, that safety in the environment that we are now, we are not investing in it as much as we are. Of course, we know that investing in hardware is a long-term affair. You don't just order a jet today and it arrives tomorrow. It takes years, for those orders to be processed and delivery made. But there are other arrangements that can be made, particularly in terms of troop motivation and welfare. You understand that can improve their morale and help us survive the onslaught that is.
All right, then. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much, Babatunde Awe, for your take there. Let's go to Comrade Ibrahim Momo. Are we at war? Would you agree to the assertion that Nigeria is at war? Or we just have a few insecurity, that we're dealing with, issues of insecurity that we're dealing with?
Well, for me, I think maybe I should just start by even responding to the message put out by the Army spokesman, Apollonia. The first thing is that the issues around the military is not only about welfare. You are paying salaries, another welfare. That's not all. Nigeria's military faces a plethora, a myriad of challenges. So the first challenge they are facing is welfare, even if the Army spokesman is denying it. I have been to several, I've been to several military barracks. The situation, the environmental conditions, even some of the buildings, and it's very appalling. Where they live. If you want the best of the military, you must take care of the military. It is not about throwing money in budgetary allocations. Are those funds released? If they are released, do they trickle down to the rank and file of the military? Because it is oftentimes, historically, we know how many former chief of defense staff or chief of army staff have been arraigned in court by the FCC on grounds of embezzlement of money laundering. We know how many in this country. The information is everywhere. So it's not about how much is allocated budgetarily. Does it get to the grassroots?
Okay.
So welfare is one issue. The other issue that the military is facing is equipment. How come, up until recently, it appears that the bandits, the violent non-state actor, it is bandits, it is Boko Haram, it is the killer headers, those who masquerade as headers but they are killers, and other violent non-state actors, they oftentimes score victories. They have attacked barracks, military barracks in Kaduna, for example. They have hit and run even areas, overrun areas even where the military, in Borno, in Zamfara, even where the military is stationed, stationed. And then the third point around, the challenges the military face is, fifth columnists or those who leak out military movements. We heard recently a brigadier general was said to have vanished or have been killed. So we have people who are fifth columnists, even within the military, who sell out information about the military plans, military movement and activities out. So it is not only the. So when I read through the report of the response of the army spokesperson, and I found that he didn't even scratch the surface of the issues of impacting and affecting the military. So you are paying salaries. How much are you even paying the military? In an area where you have skyrocketing inflation, what are you paying? Have you raised the salaries and emoluments of and allowances of the military rank and file to meet the galloping inflation that the country is facing? If you have not, what kind of payment are you saying you have? When last was the salaries of the military personnel increased? If you are saying you're providing welfare, you're paying salaries, when last did you pay them real salary? Take over salary that will take them home. That is worth dying for. I say, okay, I know that Nigeria is really taking care of me. So, for me, really, I don't actually agree that there is no chance of a mutiny. The report, what Andy was reacting to was that some military officers or personnel are gearing up for a mutiny. They didn't say that they have already engaged in a mutiny. They are gearing up for a mutiny, which means that there are issues of concern to military personnel. I have highlighted 3 broad areas. So it's not only about the welfare. How come military secrets, movements, plans are being leaked to the criminals, the violent non-actors?
Right,
how come? Okay.
No. There's a lot to talk about in this regard, but unfortunately, we don't have all the time. I would have loved to ask you your opinion on the fact that those who were fingered in the botched or phantom coup, we don't know what has become of them today. I would love to get your opinion on that. But let's quickly run to Sir Chuka Nabife because of time, so we get his own view on this one as well. Sir Chuka, thank you very much for staying with us. What are your thoughts on this? Now, as you respond to the conversation, bear in mind that from 2020 up until 2024, record has it that about 1,008 military officials resigned from the military. Now, we have those whose lives have been lost. We have those who basically disappeared. The numbers seem to be dwindling by the day. What can we do to ensure that these numbers are shot up and more people are drafted into the military? Do you think people would want to get into the military at this point, seeing how welfare has been taken care of? Let's have that with your concluding thoughts in as short a time as we can. Sir Chuka.
I didn't get the first part of your question, but I got the area of remuneration.
Go right ahead. Just go right ahead.
Yeah. You see, there is a problem an underlying problem that we are not discussing. The underlying problem that we are not discussing is information management in our armed forces and security sector. I didn't say army alone. Air Force, Navy, police. There's a level of information management that need to be updated to fit the society we are in. Not just, some people do the banal saying, update to modern. No, every society has its modernity. And we are in an epoch of political leadership in Nigeria that is civil rule based on political parties, with political parties that have grown in awareness. There is a paradigm shift age. You asked, the last bit of your question captures the major issue we have not addressed in our military. The situation we are in, the insecurity that is overwhelming the country, requires a lot of foot on the ground, a lot of feet on the ground. There are we need to recruit many people in our security operations and in the military armed forces. But you are not seeing young men put up. In this part of the country, like in the East, it's even you who bring that information talk about recruitment in the armed forces. The children who need it will even mock you. Wait for it. Is it me in my age that will now go to be recruited into the armed forces? One, the issue of payment of salaries. The military should not make it a public discourse that they are paying, not paying salaries promptly, even as the salaries are not really what they are. In management studies, you call that it demotivates. It demotivates every work.
Sir Chuka, please, we'd like for you to land on your thoughts in about 30 seconds.
So, the military should upgrade its information setup. They should also address it with the eye on forestalling what is happening. In the last couple of years, you've heard about mutiny or unease in the military, be it of the National Guard or be it for at least 3 times, be it coup or phantom coup. These are not the best things to handle, but the information management should be of such that they will not be giving room for those rumors. It's not anybody. It's not anybody that puts up and begins to ask for his due as by law. You begin to tag him a mutinist. Mutiny is a heavy word.
It's a heavy word indeed. Well, thank you very much, Sachuka Nabife.
That's where they are telling it.
Yes, thank you for your contribution. Unfortunately, because of time, this is where we have to drop anchor. But we'll pick it up again at 10 o'clock as we get into newspaper review. And if this makes it to the cover pages, definitely we'll talk about it again. Well, thank you very much, Sachuka Nabife. Thank you also, Elvis Alimehele, Comrade Ibrahim Momo, and Babatunde Awe, a lawyer, and yes, of course, Prince Francis Chilaka. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time and your thoughts on the program. On behalf of my colleagues, Chukuma Okoro, Jane Ogoye, I am Moses Humphrey, wishing you a beautiful day. Bye for now. Join us again at 10, by the way.